because we have done some of this before. When you add, you are just combining like terms. Now, if I told you to write your answer in standard form, that means at the end we have to have decreasing powers of x. I didn't specify that here, so it doesn't overly matter. But we're just adding things that are alike. So if I have an 11x, which one can I add to that? Be careful, if it's a minus 5, that's like plus negative 5. So 11 plus negative 5. Remember, when we add, the variables don't change, so you just do 11 plus negative 5, which is 6, and the x stays the same. Alright, then I have a negative x squared, so I can add that with my 2x squared. So negative 1 plus 2 is just a 1x squared. Then we have 13 and negative 23. So 13 plus negative 23 is negative 10. If I asked you to write this in standard form, what would you have to do? Which one would come first?
x2.
So I didn't specify that had to be, but if I did, x squared would be first and 6x minus 10. In general, when you're adding and subtracting, order doesn't matter. So I'm just looking to see, do you have all the terms? If they're in a different order, that's okay. Alright, subtracting is very similar. What we're going to do, notice there's a subtraction in between these. We are going to distribute. I'm going to make it a plus, and I'm going to run a negative through that whole parenthesis. So it's a plus, and then I change the sign on everything in that second parenthesis. From here, we combine like terms. So I can take 4x squared and negative 3x squared. So 4 plus negative 3 is just a 1x squared. I can take 5x plus negative 7x. 5 plus negative 7 is negative 2x. And then we just have plus negative 1 or minus 1 left on the end. So to add or subtract, first make it an addition problem. So if you have a negative or a subtraction, distribute it and make everything a negative. Then we just combine like terms. When we do that, exponents do not change. Okay. So take a second and try 13 and 14 for me. Just add. Adding things that are the same. When you add, do your exponents ever change? No. You just add the numbers in front. So this is like 1x plus 4x. So we get 5x. Plus 5 and minus 7. So 5 minus 7 is negative 2. So 13 should be 5x minus 2. 14. K squared plus k squared. We're adding them. So this is like 1k squared plus 1k squared. 1 plus 1 is 2. And the k squared doesn't change. So we're adding, not multiplying. Negative 4k plus 9k. So negative 4 plus 9? 5k. 7 minus 3 plus 4. 2k squared plus 5k plus 4. Alright, they are only like terms if their variables are identical. So if I look at number 15, if I have w to the third, are there any other w to the thirds here? No, so that's just going to stay. I don't have anything else to add to it. Right, then I could add negative 2w plus negative 2w squared plus 3w squared is negative 1w squared. Negative 5 plus negative 11 is negative 16. So you may not always have something to combine with it. If you don't, it just comes down. Let's look at number 16. It has different variables. Doesn't change anything. You can only add them together if they're the same. So we can only add the 9x with which one?
3x.
The 3x. So 9 plus 3 is 12x. Okay, I can add the negative 5y with which one? 2y. So negative 5 plus 2, negative 3y. And then I don't have any other just plain numbers, so the negative 7 just comes down. Alright. Let's go down to problem 19. When I have a subtraction between my parentheses, what do we do with that?
Add.
So we have changed it to a plus, and that means you distribute a negative through the second parenthesis. And now it's rewritten just like the above one, so we combine like things. 1x squared plus negative 3x squared. So 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2x squared. 17x plus negative 5x. So 17 plus negative 5 is 12x. Sorry. Yeah, never mind. Thought I made a mistake for a second. I want you guys to try 22 and 23 for me. So if it's a minus, change it to plus a negative. And you take that negative all the way through. And then we just add the like things together. So 3m squared and negative 1m squared make a 2m squared. 7m plus negative 2m is positive 5m. Negative 1. If this was already minus, if it's minus a negative, what happens? So negative 1 plus 5 gives me a positive 4. And 23. Distribute your negative. And add like things together. It doesn't matter what order you put them in. So if you wanted 7b plus negative 8b is negative 1b. Negative 1b squared plus negative 1b squared is negative 2b squared. And 14 plus negative 15 is negative 1. Or if you rewrote it, you could write negative 2b squared minus b minus 1. So either answer is correct. What I want to do now is have you guys go back to that handout I gave you at the beginning. And I want you to try 11 through 16. And a polynomial. So you'll notice I have one thing on the outside. And inside my parenthesis, I have two different terms. That means I have to take my term on the outside times both of them. I have to do x times x, and I have to do x times 4. We are distributing here. Remember the distributive property? Because there is an addition inside that parenthesis, we have to multiply to both of them. What is x times x? X squared. We add those exponents. Plus 4 times x is just 4x. So if I look at this one, we have to distribute this to 3 terms because I have 3 things being multiplied on the inside. So this step you don't necessarily have to write out, but I'm going to for a couple problems just to show you what I'm doing. I'm taking 5m cubed times each of these. So 5m cubed times 3m squared. You multiply your coefficients. 5 times 3 is 15. How do you do m to the third times m to the second? Add them. So m to the fifth. minus, okay, this is 5 times just a 1, so that's 5, m to the third times m. We add those exponents, 3 plus 1 is 4, so m to the 4. Minus 5m to the third times 7, so 5 times 7 is 35, m to the third. So in multiplying these, we have to distribute. We're going to work through a few of these problems. So number 1, if you take k times k, what does that give us? K squared. If I take k times negative 9, negative 9k. All right, you guys try 3 and 5 for a second. See if we can get the right answers there. It's like negative 6p to the first. You multiply it with p to the fourth, so it's a negative 6. You add the exponents, so p to the fifth. Here, what is a negative 6 times a negative 8? Positive 48. Number 5. Negative 4g squared times 2g. So negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. G squared times g to the first, you add those exponents, so g to the third. Negative 4g times 7. So negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. We'll keep the g squared. How'd you guys do on those? Good. Let's look at number 7. So if I multiply these, this is like a negative 3 into the first times a 1 n squared. So negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Into the first times n squared would be into the third. Negative 3n times negative 2n would be what? And negative 3n times 8?
8.4n.
Okay. Alright, and then I threw in some that have multiple variables, but that shouldn't change anything because we've already done this multiplication with multiple variables. We are still just distributing. So if I multiply these, p squared times p to the fifth will give me p to the 7. And then I put my q's together. Q to the third and q squared would be q to the fifth. You have 7 p's and 5 q's there. Minus p squared and p to the first would be p to the third. Q to the third and q to the first would be q to the fourth. So we are just putting those like variables together. All right. I'm going to stop here.